let's get started and let's see this. So MVC, as all of you will be knowing, MVC stands for Model, View, and Controller. So this is the framework that is recently been, most of the projects are written in MVC. If you see 5 years back, web forms was very popular, and there are some advantages of MVC when compared to web forms, ASP.NET web forms. So so for that reason, nowadays most of the projects you see in MVC, Model, View, Controller. So let's try to understand how MVC works. Now, let me open Visual Studio. So I will be using Visual Studio 2015 Community Edition, so which is free from Microsoft. Now let's create a new project, and then I will explain you how the flow happens. So File, New Project, and I will select Visual C#, ASP.NET Web Application, and click OK. And I will select Empty MVC Project. So Visual Studio comes with a predefined template, so MVC Web Forms template, also MVC template website which has a register page, login page, everything. So I am selecting Empty MVC Project and click OK. So it will create an Empty MVC Project template for me. And now the first step I'm going to do now is let me create a model. So a model is nothing but a class. So a model is a class which will have let me show you. A model is a class which will have the properties. So first step that I do is let me add a model. Right click on this, add, right click on the model folder, add, new item, and I will add a class, code class, and let's give the name as student. So I'm giving the name as student. So your models in MVC will represent your database table. More or less it will represent the database table. And now let me create, for now we are not dealing with database, so let's create a model and populate it in the controller and send it to the view, and let's see how to do it. So first I'm creating a model with a couple of properties. So prop tab, that's a shortcut for adding a property. So string I'm writing here as name, and let's see the second property. Let's add prop tab int and age. So I have added two properties for student class, and this is our model. Now what we will do is, so let's rebuild this. Now let's add a controller. So I will explain this, how the flow happens. So now let's say this, right click on this controller, add new controller. So add new controller, and I'm giving the name empty controller, and click on add, and I'll give the name as student. So student controller, click on add.